It's the post-match phone-in. Good evening, everyone. And tonight we're going to be discussing Luton Town 1, Sunderland 2. And with me is my co-host, Mark Ryman. How are you getting on this evening, Mark?
Yeah, I'm all right,
It's
thanks,
the
Ollie. I'm
post-match
feeling like most
phone-in.
people,
Good
disappointed with the
evening,
result, but really
everyone.
positive with the performance, particularly after the effort the boys put in on Saturday as well. They certainly deserved more from the game than they got. I think tactically, Rob Edwards got it bang on. And I think, again, some of those defensive performances were excellent, and Carlton Morris, again, was fantastic. So, yeah, really pleased with the performance. Bit gutted about the result, but Sunderland are a good side, and they took the two chances that they had very, very well.
They did indeed. And, look, I is it safe to come out? Because I've been going all around Sunderland Twitter today, and
Oh, mate, won't worry about
I just want to say, like, look, with my post match reactions, they are immediate. I get home, and I just give my thoughts, and I do it without a script. I do it in one take, and essentially I was just so blown away by seeing a performance with so much fight and desire from Luton Town. I was I was blown away. And yeah, maybe I wasn't so fair on Sunderland because you know what? They were excellent defensively. They were. Simple as. And you know what? We were very direct and they did well to handle what we were dishing out to them. So fair play, Sunderland. And yeah, as you say, they took their chances. They did. But in terms of momentum of the game, it was all Luton. It was
100%.
simple as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the game was played in their half, particularly in the first half. I think there's been some people who are obviously unhappy, Sunderland fans unhappy with our style of football because we didn't just let them play through us. But that's the style of football that works against them quite clearly. I would say in terms of the directness, you're right. We were direct, of course we were. We got two big men up front. However, when the ball was in their half, I think we did play some really good football. I said this in one of our other podcasts. We've done so many this week. I can't remember which one it was. But once Clark and Chong had picked up the second balls, they were spraying it around. The pass over to Moses was really, really good. There was some really good intricate play once we got there. We just need to finish our chances half as well as they did, and we win that game comfortably.
Well, that's the thing. It's about taking the chances because there were some
Sure.
excellent chances throughout that game. Also, just a quick one to everyone watching: if you want to get involved, the link to our Discord is connected to the top. Just click that. You'll get into the green room, and then from the green room, we can let you in to have a chat with us. So should we kick this off with some questions in the comments?
Yeah.
Some good ones. Well, Jim says they were great last night. I have hope again, which has been missing for so long. Like, isn't that right? We've been talking about that all day, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly that. And that's all we've been asking for all season. We're not, we aren't, and no other Luton podcast, to be fair, has been expected Luton to roll over teams in the Championship. We know far better than that. We were hashtag teams like Luton for such a long time. We wouldn't start giving it out. However, all we wanted to see was a performance and a fight that has been there for the last 180 minutes that hadn't been there for most of games prior to that. So, I'm happy if we're playing like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. It's a performance we've been waiting for all season. Simple as it
Yeah.
really is. I'm delighted with it. Yeah. Any other questions that have been raised in
Yeah,
there?
there's a one here question for the host. If performances continue to be good but results are poor, how long before Edwards comes under pressure again? I mean, before you get a chance to answer, Ollie, I'd say that if performances continue like that, results won't continue to be poor. But go on. I'll let you jump in.
So look, I think if nothing happened from the start of the season, I don't see Rob Edwards leaving. I don't see the board leaving. They've been so public in their backing of Rob Edwards, and yes, there was an element of stubbornness. There was, which is fine. But the thing is, it looks like he's sort of learned from that stubbornness, and he's gone back, embraced the fundamentals now. So, do I see him leaving the job anytime soon? No, I don't. I don't. Unless we go on like a 10-game losing streak, which I just, if we continue playing the way we are now, I don't see that happening.
No, me neither. I mean, look, we were dominant in the first half, and for a team that's supposedly top of the table. Well, they are top of the table, not supposedly, but for a team that are top of the table, and against most sides in the league, we would score more goals. They were good defensively, but we also missed a couple of really close opportunities and had a goal disallowed controversially. I'm sure we'll talk about it more later on in terms of that goal. But I think that's the way Luton Town are successful. That's the way that we are going to get results, particularly at the moment, and we can tweak things as we move on. But no, I can't see us losing many games playing like that. I really can't.
Yeah, and just a reminder, if anyone wants to call in, please do. Otherwise, this will be a very short phone in.
I think you're muted, Ollie.
Well, I was going to say, thank you very much about that.
No
problem. I was going to say, if anyone wants to phone in, please do. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very, very short phone in. Like, not even a Sunderland fan calling in to give me some abuse.
Just one in the comments, but none in the phone in just yet. There's a couple of people from Cov. In fact, it might just be Glenn who's mentioned a couple of things that just said they're talking about Mark Robins and whether if they lose on Saturday, that might be a real possibility that he goes. Yeah, I can imagine how gutting that must be, how torn Cov fans must be with that. I mean, he's been with them since the League 2 days. He's got them all the way up. He's done what Nathan Jones couldn't stick around to do for Luton, essentially. It's that wasn't meant with any menace, by the way, but it is true. He did stick around when there were plenty of clubs after him when Nathan Jones went, and it must be really tough for them to see, this kind of levels of performances. So they'll be desperate for him to turn it around so that he keeps in the job as well. It's going to be a tough day for them if we do get the results. Obviously, we're still desperate to do it, and we 2 good performances. We really want to continue that on Saturday, don't we?
Yeah. Well, regarding Robbins, there is that element of, does it get stale? Like, I think he's been there for 8-9 years, maybe. Can't really think. Since League 2 2017, I think 2016 maybe when he joined. It can get stale. Like we saw that with Nathan Jones the second time round, although was it the fact that it got stale, or was it the fact that Nathan Jones had been tapped up by Southampton? I guess we don't really know. But I will feel for Cod fans if Robbins leaves. I will. But sometimes it's just for the best, isn't it? Yeah.
Where does he go from there as well? Because I still rate him very, very highly as a manager. I think most neutrals do. Where does he go from here? If he fails with Cobb and gets the boot, what's next for him?
Well, he hasn't failed with Cov. He hasn't failed with Cov by a long shot.
Overall. This season, I mean, sorry, just this season. So obviously, if he gets the boot this season and where they are at the moment, you would say they're far below where they're capable of. Yeah, I mean, just where's he going to go from there? Because I don't know whether he'd get a top championship job. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve one.
He goes to Man United. He goes to Man United. He's the fella that saved Fergie's job.
Yeah. Yeah, do you think? I don't think he'd want to. I don't think he gets first team manager somehow. But you never know if they're going to give it to Southgate. I mean, I'd rather him if I was a United fan.
Out of all the managers that Man United could appoint, I couldn't think of
Oh,
anyone better than Mark Robbins right now, because he knows the club, he played for them, and he's got such a pedigree. He took Coventry from the depths of League Two to like the cusp of the Premiership, and no, the Premier League. Sorry, it's not the Premiership, and if he can do that with Cov, why can't he take Man United from the poor levels they're currently at and like raise them back up to compete with Pep Guardiola? I believe it could happen, and maybe he should be in for that job, but I guess he's not Dutch or exotic or anything like that, so it won't happen.
that'd be some move, wouldn't it?
It'd be amazing. I would love that. I would love that move. We got a question here from BDS. I'm guessing it's a Mackham. Hi, evening BDS. Are you still so happy you got your Luton back despite losing? That is the most delusional thing I've ever seen. Well, BDS, yes, I am happy, because if you've watched my post matches from this season so far, starting with the Burnley one where we lost 4-1, and the play was very, very bad. We were terrible. 3 of the goals were literally carbon copies, ball straight through the middle. And yes, I was very, very upset. And even when we won 2 games back to back, the Millwall one was a good win for us. And I thought that could be the stepping stone to getting our Luton back, playing properly with fight, desire, wanting it more than the other team. And then we played Sheffield Wednesday and we absolutely stank for 80 minutes. And when I say we played badly, I can't describe how badly we played. We were terrible. We were so bad. But somehow we managed to nab a win in the last 10 minutes. We got a penalty. I wouldn't say it was dubious. It was a handball on the line. And then pinball in the box, Colton Morris spin, shoot. And it was, that was great. Happy with that. But then the performances progressively got worse, and we weren't playing with fight, desire. We couldn't do the basics. We couldn't. There was this idea that we'd play fast-flowing football, and the players couldn't do it. Simple 5-yard passes, 10-yard passes that just weren't going anywhere, and we were inviting pressure on ourselves. What we do is we play football. And when I say got our Luton back, we play football in the opposition's half. Direct football doesn't mean lump it. What it means is you send the ball long, you win the first ball. If you don't win the first ball, you win the second ball. And that is the basis of direct football. It's not just lumping it and like chasing after it. There is an art to direct football. And yeah, people in the comments were liking us to Wimbledon. Well, Wimbledon had success, but I hate to say it, but Graham Taylor actually had some very good thoughts on direct football. And you know what? That Watford team, they had a lot of success in the 80s. They finished second behind a ridiculous Liverpool team. Yeah. And yeah.
As did Sunderland when they were lumping it up to Niall Quinn every week in the Premier League. I mean, look.
Little and large, mate. Little and large.
Exactly. But look, I mean, Sunderland, I've said it, you said it, Sunderland were brilliant in terms of finishing the chances that they had, which were 2, and they did brilliantly. Mundell's shot was excellent. I think Clark could have done better in blocking it, but credit to them. Chris Rigg, very calm under pressure to get past McGuinness and then put it under Kaminsky. Absolutely fair play. And I said this in our previous, it was like playing in the Premier League, in that teams that were playing against just finished every chance they had. Now, I think that being said, Luton Town had at least 2 or 3 more chances to score that we should have done as well. So yes, Sunderland, you did defend well. Mepham particularly is a good addition. I think Tri-Hume was running scared first half. I think he improved a little bit in the second half, but I think that left-hand side had him on toast in the first half. But Clark scores that chance towards the end. I don't think it was a penalty personally. I think the handball is is certainly at least up for debate at the end. Or Doughty takes his chance. It's a different conversation, isn't it? And both of those should have done better. That's on us as a team completely. But to be creating those chances to win a game of football that, if we'd have played you 4 weeks ago, we wouldn't have got near you, then yeah, it's a huge improvement for us. And
if we played them 4 weeks ago, that would have been, they would have been turning over. Yeah, well, worse than the Burnley score, because that was first game of the season. Yeah, they would have literally been turning over we wouldn't have been able to get it through midfield, would we? They would have Bellingham, Neil, other guy. Can't think of the other midfielder. Well, essentially, Mundell and just everyone would have just been winning the ball straight off our defence or our midfield, and then just running straight for our goal, and there would have been a massive hole in the middle. So that is why I was ecstatic with Luton's performance yesterday.
Yeah, and we did a really good job. I mentioned Trahim. We did a really good job on both of their fullbacks. Really, we really did. They weren't in the game in that first half at all. And fair play to both Moses and Doughty for keeping them at bay in that half. We were so intensely pressing them out. They were great. All of us were great. I think Doughty's final product obviously wasn't as good as it was on Saturday. I think he's knackered as well. So I'm not lauding any criticism onto him. I just think he didn't have that final product. The free kick that just went straight out of play, for example. Obviously the goal was excellent, but the amount of corners and free kicks we had, we probably could have put it in the mix and more than we did. But yeah, I mean, we kept a very good Sunderland side very quiet. So and I think that most reasonable Sunderland fans will see that as a good performance on their part, but also recognise that Luton offered a fair bit of threat as well.
Right, we got someone in the waiting room, but before we bring in Ash, I will say those first 6 minutes, they were fantastic. Sunderland fans, the first 6 minutes were fantastic, but after that, the game did shift very much in Luton's favour, and your first goal was against the run of play. I will say that. But also, at the same time, Luton made defensive errors leading to the goals. Right, shall we bring in Ash?
Yeah, let's bring him in.
Yeah, oh, whoopsie. There we go, technical issue, there we go. I think we got Ash, though.
Ash. Hello again.
Hey, Ash. Good evening, mate. How you doing?
I'm all right. I think you both are doing a good job again.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
I just wanted to say, do you think the referee was bribed yesterday or something?
No. No.
There's some poor decisions in there. Come on, there were some poor decisions, but you could argue it's a bit soft for both sides. I think he was more of the non-decision than anything else. It was more that he didn't want to make a big decision, particularly towards the end. There was no way he was going to give a penalty against. I think it was Aaron Connolly that handballed it. I mean, I saw the replay, did handball it, but I felt like it was he didn't want to make the wrong decision in a big game, so just refused to make any decisions. The fouls on the lead up to their goals, for example.
Do you think Elijah's goal was a really good goal? What do you reckon?
I love that. I loved it. The ball across from Morris. Morris is getting very adept at sort of peeling off from set pieces, and I love it. And Elijah actually had a really good chance before that, and the goalkeeper Patterson, very good goalkeeper. I rate Patterson very, very highly. He has a touch of the Pickfords about him, which is funny because obviously he knows Pickford. Pickford's from the Sunderland Academy, and Pickford's had gone on to have a wonderful career. 60 or so games for England, possibly more. I've stopped following England now outside tournaments, so I don't know how many he's had. And I think he's more of a complete package than Jordan Pickford. For one, he's got longer arms, he's bigger, and
I've seen both of the players.
Yeah,
and I think they're really good goalkeepers. But I would like to talk about also. There's something I wanted to say. I'm trying to remember something which coming into my mind. Okay, yeah. What about Taylor then? Do you think they should give him a start? Just get some, because he looks a bit rusty, isn't he, on the bench?
What you mean in the 5 minutes he had?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
looks a bit rusty.
came on
Don't you
90th.
think he should start a bit earlier on? Or,
I want to know your thoughts on
I-
it, Ash.
Yeah, go on, Ash,
What
you
do
go.
you think?
my
What do you
thoughts
think?
are, I just think that I would put Elijah as impact sub and Chong as well as impact sub. Only because I think we don't have any game changers at the moment.
I think it's difficult, isn't it? I think that in that game, I think the way we were playing, Eli and Morris, who played so well against Watford, were nailed on starters for me. I get why some people have mentioned Taylor not coming on earlier. I don't mind Woodrow coming on instead earlier, actually, in that game. I think for that particular game and the way we were playing, it suited us. It's much harder for Taylor to get in behind their defenders. They're such a quick side. That's a lot harder for him to do, and they're not pressing us because they're winning the game as well. You know, if we're winning the game, 2-1, if it's the other way round and they're pushing up towards our penalty area, then yeah, I understand Taylor coming on to run behind a little bit more alongside Chong. So I get what you're saying. I think what's certainly true is he's not being given any longer than about 10-15 minutes. I think Sheffield United maybe was the longest that he's had on from the bench.
He had 5 minutes yesterday. Just 5 minutes.
Exactly, came on 90th minute, didn't he? So yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that he needs more time to be able to demonstrate what he can do. I just think in that game specifically, I don't think I was too upset to see Woodrow on before him.
I wanted to ask about the January transfer market in January. Do you think will we be getting any more players in and loaning out probably a few players like Taylor, etc.? There's a few players on the bench.
Can you see Taylor actually wanting to stay? I can't.
I don't think so. I can't. When I saw him the first game of the season, I noticed that he was looking my ways, and because I don't usually applaud that much in games, I don't think he likes Edwards much. But I think maybe in January it will be nice if we get a few more fresh faces on the bench, game changers.
I'm willing to bet money that we'll get at least one signing. I'm also going to bet you lots of money that he comes from Sweden as well. So I know I'm going to bet good money on this. I've heard an inside trait that we've got one midfielder coming from Sweden.
You bet your fanny on that.
Is there any chance of any Danish international striker? Probably some.
No, it's the Mean Fanny, the guy that we've already signed. Ash, we signed him in the summer, but he's not coming till January. That's all.
Yeah, really. I just think we need a few more players on the bench who can do something now. It's getting a bit. It was a good game yesterday, but I was still a bit disappointed because the fans need something. They need. The referee just kept on winding us up in the Kenworth where we all sit. I sit down that end.
Yeah, I think we still continue to create chances all the way through. What really impressed me, and you consider this compared to when we've conceded before, look at QPR when we collapsed, is that we conceded and they put on pressure. After that first goal in particular, after they scored their first goal, they then went at it to try and score 2 or 3. We absorbed that for 5 minutes and then we went back at it. I was really impressed with that. We didn't let it phase us. We kept going, and obviously we got the goal a minute later and sadly they scored again. But yeah, I think that depth-wise it would be nice, and Taylor-wise, yeah, I agree, Ollie. I think it's clear that Edwards hasn't got him in his immediate plans. Although, to be fair, now
why would he stay?
Fit, I mean,
why would he stay?
Well, no, I mean, But Jacob Brown, for me, when he came on, he just looks class. He held the ball up. He looked really good. A couple of quick touches. Again, his header across, I think it was for the Doughty chance. It might have been for the Clark one. I can't remember, but just brilliant. And for me, he doesn't get on ahead of, personally, Taylor doesn't get on ahead of those three. So for me, he's fourth choice minimum. That for me isn't just
for example, with the lower teams, I know that Sunderland's at the top, yeah, but the ones at the bottom, you should give the younger players a chance against the the ones which are struggling at the bottom. Is this a good idea just to get them and then we've got West Brom coming up. I'm just worried that our players are gonna. We've got Coventry on Saturday as well, but. Rotation. I just believe in a bit of rotation. Like when you're doing well, like we were playing well against Watford, we were all laughing and giggling and thinking, what a brilliant game. If they put Taylor on in the last, say, 10 minutes of the game and he scored a goal, it's just the development. It helps development. And that's why I would say, but at the end of the day, who wants to be a coach anyway? But we can criticise how much you like, but we pay our money to go there, and we're so lucky to have all these loyal Luton supporters coming from so many miles. Like they come from Southend, they come from Margate, they come so far away, and it's just amazing that they all come and they all support Luton.
Yeah. No, 100%. So, Ash, what do you think about Rob Edwards at the moment? There's the last question now. I'll let you crack on and enjoy the show.
Yeah, I think he's about, on my personal, before I go, I just think he just got away with it at the moment. I'm a bit worried about the Coventry game, and I'm very worried about the West Brom game and the Leeds game. I just think you need to develop your players. You need to be clever. When you're winning, give the younger players confidence to get into a team. Because it's just like when I was 12 years old, I remember Phil Gray and Nick Harford and all these guys. Back in those days, that's why I'm a bit, I've got like that sort of Division 1 Premier League experience type of they just like Jim Ryan and David Pleat, and how they just got those young 21-year-old players to just play really well when they had injuries themselves that time, and players getting sent off in that season.
The academy was exceptional at that point, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah. Well, Zach Nelson does look good. You're right.
He is a good player, but I think he needs to. And when you're winning games, please play your younger players. So when you're like a couple of goals up, just when the fans are laughing and singing, just put Taylor on, put Nelson on, put these Johnson on. Don't put them on when you know that all your cards are all thrown on the floor. You just the game is over, and the kids. How are you going to give the confidence to those kids? That's what it is for me. I just like a manager who is brave and really cares about the players. What's the point being on the bench if you're not developing? And if you're not gonna, he was at Peterborough, wasn't he, Taylor?
Yeah,
and
he started off
goals
there. No, not Peterborough. He went on loan to Colchester. He was their top scorer. Then halfway through the year, he was recalled and sent to Lincoln. He also then went on to become their top goal scorer in just half a season.
We bought him from Peterborough,
didn't
we?
Yeah, but he didn't score a goal.
Well,
he didn't score a goal for Peterborough. In the JPT, Papa John's or whatever they call it, the LDV vans. He scored a goal in that, but no, he never scored a league goal for Peterborough. He struggled for time. He couldn't get in ahead of Ricky J. Jones and all that lot. And Darren McAnthony, when he sold Joe Taylor, to Luton.
Yeah.
He was like lauding. He was like, "Yeah, well, I got 100 times what I spent on him. Oh, done really well there." And
Yeah.
I think we got a player there, but he has to play.
At least
I'm
to
not.
play.
I'm not expecting him to start games, but I'd very much like to see him get 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Like, you know that sub where we take
That's it.
Morris off and Elijah off at 60 minutes. Like last time it was Morris, this time it was Elijah that went off at 60 minutes. Why not take both of them off and get fresh legs, Brown and Taylor on? I'm not a manager, but give the defense something else to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue, just to play devil's advocate here as well, but I would argue for the last 2 games, it's not been the right thing. We're 2-0 up against Watford and we get 4 injuries. Are we really saying stick all the kids on at that point? Because I don't know about you, but I was sitting there thinking, bloody hell, just hold on now. Please don't. I was pleased to see Jacob Brown. I wouldn't, Carlton Morris had to come off the 60-minute mark, but I felt like we needed as many experienced heads on the pitch in that game as possible. And obviously, Jacob Brown looks like a great decision, isn't it? After he scores that goal, I think against Sunderland as well, that's difficult. Yeah, I agree with you, Ash, in principle.
Yeah, the Watford game, 100%. Yeah. But we've got this heavy game is crucial now, isn't it? If you look Leeds, West Brom, they're very, very tough games. Can you put Taylor on? Maybe. But what I'm trying to say, put him at the start. If he does really well, and then the second half you got your experienced guys in. I don't know. It's good that you both are there and you're talking, and hopefully other people will listen, and like they are listening. Loads of people are listening to this show.
Well, not right now. We're waiting for more callers.
But
Ash,
listening, jump on.
We want to hear from people.
I think what it is I think it's because it's a Thursday, isn't it? I think that's what it is. If it's on a Friday night, you know what I'm trying to say. I think it's just because I think the Friday or on Monday.
I'm not a fan of double game weeks. But Ash, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, both of you. Thank you.
Cheers, Ash. So that was Ash. And if anyone wants to jump on, the link to get involved, it's in the comment section of the YouTube video. And we're here. There's the green room. Should we read some more comments? Are there any that take your eye? Yeah. I see.
I was just having a look through. Yeah, I mean, just Glenn. Just again, how did Cov beat Luton? What's your main weakness? Anyone from Cov you're worried about? Oh, Glenn, there's lots from Cov we're worried about, mate. Definitely. I mean, obviously the guy that we've been desperate to sign, even though realistically we knew we couldn't, in Ben Sheaf pulling the strings. I think it's the midfield. I think for us, over the last 2 games, our press has been really, really good. Prior to that, though, we've been very susceptible to a ball through the middle. We play 1v1 defending. So if Haji Wright has one of those games, then especially against what we think will still be a bit of a makeshift defence, that's a problem. While McGuinness and Tom Holmes have played 2 very good games, they don't have the pace that people like Reece Burke and Mengi have, and both of them may well be out. So for those reasons, they're my worries. Are you?
Yeah. Ditto.
Yeah. Well, we are not taking it lightly at all. No.
Yeah, I think that, just because Cov aren't in good form, that doesn't mean anything, because all it takes is like one team to turn a season around for someone. We needed Watford to get us going again, because before then the football was abject, and it's only been 2 games, but if we can continue what we played against Watford and then Sunderland and take that into Coventry, I think Coventry will struggle with us. We got a caller in the green room. It's hashtag in Tom Lockyer we trust. Simon, how are you getting on, mate?
Hold on a minute.
Did you say hold on a minute?
Wait a minute.
Jesus.
Oh,
God.
Coming back.
Oh, look at these blue ticks thinking that they can control
Yeah.
everything. Ridiculous. He's got himself out now as well. Disgraceful. He'll be gone now. Right, where is he? Should we bring him back in? Or
yeah.
is he,
We'll drop him back in. I have no idea if he said in a minute or.
I'm here.
There he is. The
How you doing,
blue
guys?
tick
All right?
man himself. He is here. Yeah, we're doing all right,
Yeah,
mate.
listen, funny enough you mentioned that, Ollie. I just got done watching you're becoming famous on Sunderland Twitter yourself.
If you're watching this
I've just
earlier,
seen
I
doing the
explained
rounds
it.
on their end.
Yeah, well, I'm not really checking Twitter. I haven't for weeks, really.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, the thing is, like with the post matches, I've already said it. It's like raw, it's unscripted, and yes, I forgot to mention how well Sunderland did defensively. But you know, if any Sunderland fan doesn't think Luton had the best of that game, they're kidding themselves because.
They've been bottling all that rage up since the playoff semi-final.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah, look, there's no salt there. Maybe it came off as salty last night, but you know it was last night. Like I literally hit record as soon as I got home. I'd had a couple of drinks. That's normal, and yeah, I forgot to mention how well they defended. I think they made 27 clearances or something crazy. There was definitely
Bloody
a 7 in
hoofball,
there.
mate.
Yeah, we brought them down to our level. They did well down at our level. You know, they were getting involved. They were kicking the ball out. Fair play to them. And yeah, they took advantage of us. But I've already said this. What were your thoughts, mate?
Listen, out of all our defeats so far this season, that has been by far the easiest for me to stomach.
Yeah.
I thought we played really well. I thought we got back to basics that we've been saying about for weeks and weeks and weeks. We played to our strengths, and that's how we got promoted initially. We got promoted by playing to our strengths. It's all well and good wanting to play like Man City, but we don't have those sort of players. We have players designed to win the ball up top and attack in the final third, and that's what we did, and we did it really well. And it wasn't just like we were just hoofing the ball up the field as Sunderland fans were letting on. We were putting some good passes together. We were transitioning really well. We made good use of our outlets on the wings. Alfie, I thought, had an excellent game again. He started to come into his own since he got his new contract. Elijah scoring, excellent. You know, what's not to love about that? The only downside is we equalise, and it reminded me of last season. I think it was against Burnley when we were at home. We equalise and they score a worldie, and that's that.
Exactly like that. You said it, Ryman, didn't you?
I said the same thing. So yeah, well, I said it reminded me of the Prem, and then I had to think, and it was very similar to that Burnley game, except that in the Burnley game they deservedly took the lead. They'd been dominant in that half, whereas we were on top until they scored. So, but apart from that, you're absolutely right. It had that sucker punch feel about it, definitely. I think we're great. You know what really excites me moving forward with this front two as well? Shandon Baptiste coming back.
Who?
We mentioned Alfie Doughty, I think.
Who?
Who? Shandon. Yeah, him.
Who?
Yeah, the one that started.
Who?
Yeah. I'm really excited about him and Alfie together being able to put crosses in from either side. I think, you know, from Shandon from the middle. But yeah, I think that's going to cause all sorts of problems. I really do.
Who is this? Who is the Shandon you're speaking of? I still don't know who the Shandon is that you're talking about. Okay, go on, Si.
If I've got any criticism, right, aside from the result, put the result aside. I really wish we would stop giving opposition players easy shots. Yeah. Clark needed to be closing that down. He really, really did, and he didn't. And that seems to be a bit of an ongoing thing. I know maybe I'm wanting too much at once. I think we have turned the corner. I think the corner has been turned, and that these performances are now going to rack up some wins. I do think that we are very capable of beating Coventry this week. They're all out of sorts. Coventry are not playing well. Obviously, that could change. They're at home. We're away. but we need to take advantage now. We need to be firm, physical, get in their faces, just like we did against Watford, just like we have against Sunderland, and results are going to come.
You must be devastated about Coventry's form, aren't they? Your second team.
Very funny. It's not my fault they all followed me after the playoffs, is it? Nah, they're a good fan base, man. I like Coventry.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was very
local
civil.
side.
Yeah.
Very civil. It's a nice change of pace from Watford and Sunderland.
Yeah, it's not difficult though, is it? Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you're right. I think that I say they're there for the taking because we do have this
famous
habit of
last
getting
words.
the best out of opposition. Exactly. So we do have the best to get. We do tend to get the best out of opposition teams, and Mark Robbins knows how to play against us. As well, or he should do by
Might
now.
have
So
PTSD.
there's always that. Well, he might do, but this one ain't going to penalties, mate. That's guaranteed.
I'm going to be there on
So,
Saturday for that game. I'm hoping for a win.
Yeah, me too. I've been to the CBS or the Rico or whatever it's been called through the years a few times. It's not the most fun experience in the world. Hopefully there'll be a few more Cov fans this year than there have been in the past.
But anyway, I think we're doing well. I think compared to weeks gone by, I think things are looking good. I think we are playing well. The last two games we have played well. I have no complaints about how we're going about it. It's just two individual errors. Similar to the Premier League was our undoing. But the difference is we can actually stop more of those in the Championship as time goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned blocks as well. I think Clark's was poor. I completely agree, sort of ran past it. But on the plus side of that, McGuinness, who I complained a little bit about, especially after the Sheffield United game, of just not closing stuff down, for the last two games has been all over it. There was a couple of shots last night that McGuinness closed down that would have been in a really dangerous position as well. So, on the plus side... Yeah, Holmes as well. Holmes was excellent last two or game and a half, wasn't he? But yeah, both of those look like they've made huge strides of improvement. So that's great.
Mengi coming back soon too. We're starting to look a bit spoiled for options.
Yeah, but someone will break down. Rest assured,
soon, mate.
Yeah.
We'll lose another 3 by then.
Yeah, like Tom Holmes, what a player! But he'll probably drop a bottle of salad cream on his foot or something and be out for the season. You never know.
I think we'll see Nakamba start. I think Nakamba starts the next game for Clark, personally.
I don't know for Clark, but he has to start because Edwards said, we're easing him back in minutes wise. He didn't play. He didn't come off the bench. Was he on the bench? I don't even know.
He was on the bench.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, okay. I get to my seat so late. I barely look at the bench. I just look at the starting lineup, and he didn't play a minute yesterday. So if we're managing his minutes, this is the game because Ben Sheaf, if allowed, Ben Sheaf will control the game from midfield. He's that good. So Nakamba's got to be on him, picking his pocket throughout the game.
I want to add one more thing, and then I want to ask you guys a question to round it off, right? Please, Rob Edwards, do not bring Corley Woodrow on ahead of Joe Taylor ever again. I'm so sick of this. I'm really sick of it.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you.
I'm sure he's the nicest fella in the world, right? He's the nicest fella in the world. I'm sure of it. What he does in training, I'm sure it's great. But it's never translated on the pitch. It's never happened. Stop it. Give Joe Taylor a bloody chance. Seriously, that's enough.
What do you mean, man? What do you mean? How dare you? He scored that goal against Norwich, 22-23 season.
How many last-minute goals has he scored? He scored 2 compared to Joe Taylor's 0. Thank you. Right.
Taylor's had 2 disallowed goals.
Right, last question I got for you guys, right? Because I've seen people talking about it. Tahith Chong, yeah? What do you guys think of him currently, and do you persevere with what Rob Edwards is asking him to do?
I don't think it's working at the moment for Tahith Chong. He looks busy. In reality, does he create chances? He wins free kicks. I'd like to see him run into the box more, take shots from outside the box. I would like to see more from him. But in all fairness, I think he needs 2 defensive midfielders behind him to truly unleash what he can do, you know?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, he lacks the physicality that we need from the team that plays the way that we do. I think Alfie Doughty, while I don't think his deliveries were completely on point last night, I think he outshone Chong completely down that side. He outran him. He took the ball past him every single time as well, and sort of Chong sort of standing there, wondering if that should have been him. And positionally that led to some problems. I think for their second goal, I mean, he does take the ball out, and that's great. He just needs to have a bit more awareness. Like, he's never ever going to get past 3 Sunderland players. So you either pass it or you're more intelligent about drawing in the foul, because while I think that it was 50-50 whether that would be given, it would have been soft if the ref had given it. And there's been a number of occasions we've had this, whereas Chong has gone down for a foul that would have been soft if given, and it's left us really open at the back as well.
You mean like the second? You mean like the second goal yesterday, where he went
Yes,
down?
that's what I mean. Yeah, the second goal. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
But he was at fault for the first goal. Although there was a foul just in the build up
was.
to that, where the ball he ended up bringing the ball back into our defence. I do think of all the players that would benefit from getting taken out the team for a little rest, everyone's saying Elijah this, Elijah that. I've always said Elijah needs to play through. Elijah just needs someone playing with him instead of being isolated. I think Chong would benefit from time out the team, maybe coming on as an impact, running at tired legs, sort of as like an ego boost rather than being fresh-legged and running into fresh-legged people.
Remember?
It did.
Yeah.
When we were using him in that capacity quite early on in the Premier League. And
there's no Barkley now
against Liverpool.
Yeah, but there's no Barkley in the team now. There's no Sambi Lokonga in the team now.
That is a huge problem. I agree. But the best way to go forward, do what you've suggested. Impact player off the bench. Show us what you can do from there.
Yeah, just for now. I'm not saying, until the end of the season. But someone said something to me before the Sunderland game, which is very funny. I won't say his name. Who told me this, because he'll get pelters for it. I'll ask both of you, what is Tahith Chong's best game at Kenilworth Road? What has been his best game? In your opinion?
Oh,
is it for Birmingham?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was for Birmingham.
Oh, yeah, that's clearly what you mean.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
He got applauded off the pitch that game.
Exactly. He's had some performances, hasn't he? But in reality, has he shone? He's always been outshone by someone else. He's never been the player of the match. Yes, it was a great goal from, against Liverpool, but, Barkley made that goal. He pretty much, his pass dictated to Kabore where to go, and the run was excellent. But, his best performance at Kenilworth Road has been for Birmingham.
Yeah.
I think, as you both said, though, when he came back in the Prem, he looks a different player, and his finishing was on point as well. He was so ruthless with that finishing when he came back as well, taking his chance a lot more. So, he did have when we had all of those injuries in the last bit of the Premier League season, I think for me, he was up there with one of our standout players. He just, as I say, he just hasn't got going this season. And while other players in the last 2 games have really picked up their game, he hasn't done as much, and it's starting to show now.
I agree.
Yeah,
very interesting topic. Let's see if he can turn it around.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Because look, he is. He's got a lot to prove. He has. I prefer not to see him sort of drifting out to the left wing as well. Obviously, there can be little triangles, but if he's going to penetrate, I'd love to see it from the middle, because then he can shoot. We've seen him shoot before for Birmingham.
Mm.
And we've seen a little bit of that from Luton. But yeah, but we need more from outside the box. People need to be braver, take
Barkley used
shots.
to take our shots from every game. You count on Barkley to have a pelter from outside the box.
Yeah, we don't
Every
have
game,
we
you
don't
know
have Ross Barkley anymore.
Someone's got to take it on.
Yeah, we don't have him
Still didn't
anymore.
score
Yeah,
one though, did
definitely
he?
not.
Oh, hit the bar. That
I
was
know, it's sad.
fantastic. I remember that one where
I
it just
missed that
pinged
guy.
off the bar.
Game.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you guys get on for the night. Cheers for having me.
All right, cheers, Si. Appreciate it, mate.
Cheers,
Enjoy
Si.
the Cov game.
Have a good evening, guys. See you later.
Yeah, I don't know whether you've seen Barkley play for Villa recently, Ollie, but watching him play against Man United the other week just made me so pleased that we had him for the season that we did. And any thought that he was going to stay with us in the Championship just makes it a bit laughable, really, doesn't it?
Never going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. He was never going to stay. And I love the fact that he's been a game changer for Aston Villa. And I like the fact that Luton had a major role in his career resurgence, because without joining Luton, I don't think he'd be in the Premier League. Who knows? He'd probably be in Saudi Arabia collecting like a ridiculous Ivan Toney wage. Like,
yeah,
there's a
but
possibility.
it says something about him as well, though, that he didn't go for the money. That he came to Luton and he did, he worked to get himself back to what he is now. Well, he's a different version of what he was before as well. But yeah, I mean, just
he's a more complete player. Yeah, we made him a more complete player. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got time for one more caller, so if anyone else wants to jump in rather than listening to us, bit of a different one. I feel, it's like the game yesterday, because there were a lot of empty seats yesterday, and everyone was like, oh, why are there so many empty seats? Well, Wednesday night, midweek, busy schedule. It costs a fortune to go to Cov as well. Yeah, like,
tell me about it.
Yeah, like the season ticket holders turn up, but the problem is the ticket prices are too expensive. I'll have a little rant about this. That I simply cannot afford to go to Coventry, because it's not just the £37 ticket; it's the parking and the whole day out. Football has gotten far too expensive these days.
100% it has. I was having these conversations before the Sheffield United game, but just, in the Championship without the regulation, but, the Premier League for the tourists and the season ticket holders, it's becoming such an exclusive club now to go and see certain games of football. And that just isn't right. It's not right when, you support a team like Luton, you support a team like Coventry. No offense meant at all, but you don't do it for the glitz and the glamour, do you? Let's be fair. You shouldn't have to pay the best part of £100 to go to a game. Two of you go to a game, food, parking, and everything else. It's absolutely disgraceful. Long gone are the days of working class sport. I mean, it's. Yeah, I don't want to get on my soapbox about it again because I already had a moan about it before Sheffield United. But you're absolutely right. And if I wasn't local to Cov, then I probably wouldn't have shelled out the ticket price to go.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose the games that you go to. It's just disgraceful, and regulation needs to come in. Right, we got a caller. We got LJ. Should we bring in LJ?
Yeah.
LJ, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. I think you should be unmuted. No, LJ. Oh,
he's gone.
In, out. Let's drop him back in.
LJ. Unmute yourself, mate. No, he doesn't want to talk to us.
LJ doesn't want to talk. Yeah, if you want, you should we try one more time? Let's bring in LJ.
Last chance.
LJ. How you doing, LJ? No, he's gone back out. Yeah, no, fair play.
All right. I just want to mention there was one comment towards the end. Peter Heppel, as a Sunderland fan, you didn't deserve to lose that. That's the type of performance that got you promoted last time. By the way, we are top because we don't play like that every week. Thank you.
Yeah,
sorry.
most sensible Sunderland fan right
thank
there.
You for that.
Yeah,
of
thank
course,
you, Peter.
But I would say from a Sunderland point of view, Kenilworth Road is a tough place to come to, and like I said, you took your chance. If I was an away fan in that game, I'd absolutely love that victory, despite not playing particularly well. That is the sign of a team that's going to do very well. So, take it, absolutely take it. But
yeah,
we'll move forward.
Exactly. Like, look, I have had opinions on Sunderland. I've said they won't win the league. I still think this is a tremendous season for them. And if you'd said to any Sunderland fan ahead of the season, would you take playoffs? They'd bite your hand off for it. Considering the teams that are in the league this season, you didn't know Cov were going to, be this bad, but there's Burnley, Sheffield United. Everyone thought they were going to be bad, but then they signed everything in the kitchen sink. And right now there are some very good teams in the Championship, but it's just so unpredictable. As we say each week in our prediction video, it's mad, and they're doing so well, Sunderland, but it will be hard to sustain. It will.
Well, they've had the unknown quantity of a new manager as well, and nobody knows how he was going to do new to the Championship, and he's obviously done brilliantly well. And they've added solidity with people like Chris Mepham as well, which has just helped them play the football further up the pitch. I have to say just one thing on them. I was impressed with Joe Bellingham. I know that's not a hot take, but I was really impressed with how he dealt with our intensity of press. He has that physicality of his brother, doesn't he? You can, very obviously, I'm not going to compare one with the other. Well, I am, but his physicality was there to see, and I think he was for a young lad very calm under pressure. You can definitely tell they're related. But
absolute bargain.
Really impressive.
Absolute bargain. Yeah. They signed him for what, 2 million, 1 million?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, if someone can drop in the comments how much, that'll be interesting to know. But I remember it was so ridiculous.
Yeah. Was that before the Birmingham takeover though? So I'm assuming it's when Birmingham were bang in trouble in terms of finances. You'll have to tell me if you know that. But I wonder if it's partly down to that as well.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I think they got a great deal. Like even if he was 16 or 17, it's still, it's not much. Even if there are add-ons, I think it's a great deal. But shall we wrap this up? And
let's do it.
I guess everyone look forward to Coventry. And if you're rewatching this or if you're in the stream now, give this video a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. If you're not watching and if you are watching and you're subscribed, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We got loads of Luton Town content and Championship content, so there's a bit of something for everyone. And it's great having you all here for the live stream. Thank you for getting involved in the chat. Thank you very much for our callers as well. And thank you to my co-host, Mark. And we got a prediction video out at the moment for game week 12, where we go through all the games ahead of Friday night, Saturday, and one on Sunday. So we give our thoughts and predictions. It's impossible to predict. And we got our match preview that's dropping tomorrow morning, I believe. So I hope you all enjoy that. And most importantly, come on, you Hatters.